Well, before I got into politics, I was a journalist, so I did that for a number of years. And back when journalists had beats, so to speak, mine was political. So I had the politics of municipal, provincial, and federal to follow. And through that, I developed a very good working relationship with local politicians, but also started to develop a greater understanding of how the system worked. And through that, I just decided that federal politics were the type of issues that I'm most interested in. And I decided if I could, I wanted to serve and put my name forward, and I did that. And thankfully, I was elected in 2015 and hopefully re-elected on October 21st.
What do you think qualifies you for this position other than your last 4 years of experience?
Well, the 4 years of experience, I think, does say a lot, but also my ability to listen to the people that put me there. I think even though the job entails half the year in Ottawa, I came back every single weekend and I've made myself visible. I've made myself approachable and available to anyone who had an issue. I felt that I was able to take their issues back to Ottawa, and it was more people in Haliburton, Kawartha Lakes, Brock speaking to Ottawa than Ottawa speaking to them. And so I think that has meant a lot to people, and my ability to work across party lines. I think my personality speaks for itself, and I think that people realize that I'm a pretty easygoing guy, or at least I think I am, and that actually serves well in Ottawa when you're trying to work with other parties.
And what are the main issues as you see them right now in our riding?
Affordability comes up time and time again. Everywhere I go in the riding, even not just a campaign, but even leading up to it, people are just finding it harder and harder to get by. Pension checks aren't going as far, paychecks aren't going as far, there's little left at the end of the week, at the end of the month, and people just aren't able to provide for themselves and their families, and it's getting harder and harder to do that. And so that's the common theme. Climate comes up as well, and so does the economy, and we have a plan for both. Our climate plan is 55 pages long. It's 60 pages long, 55 points of action, where it's broken down into 3 categories: technology, not taxes. We have a greener and cleaner natural environment, and taking our climate change fight globally. Those are the 3 main headings. And then under economy, ensuring that our businesses are able to do what they do best, which is create jobs, opportunity, and wealth in our communities. By doing that, we need to keep taxes low. We need to keep rules, regulations, red tape at a reasonable level, and ensure that they have the tools to keep them successful, as well as remove any disincentives that some businesses have to starting up in the first place, or even growing, investing in their employees, or research and development.
And how would you make things more affordable?
Well, we are going to, of course, the universal tax cut, which affects anyone making under $47,000 a year. You'll see 1.25% off your income tax. We're going to get rid of the carbon tax, which is responsible for driving up the cost of gasoline, groceries, home heating fuel. We're also going to take the GST off home heating fuel. We're going to make parental benefits tax-free so that those parents going back to work aren't hit with that tax bill once you kind of get things back on track and back in at work. So we're going to make that tax-free. And we're going to balance the budget. We're going to do it responsibly within 5 years. And we think that's important because businesses, individuals have to live within their means each and every day. So should government. But we're going to do that so that we are ensuring that healthcare transfers remain at a minimum of 3%, so that provinces have the ability to plan and understand what their forecast is going forward, so that those essential services that we all care about and want are there and solid for the future.
Where do you stand on the issue of guns?
So I think responsible firearms ownership is something that is a privilege in our country, especially in this area. There's a lot of responsible firearms owners, whether they be hunters, whether they be farmers, or sport shooters. And if we're really going to actually tackle the problem of gun violence in our cities, in Vancouver, in Toronto, in Edmonton, we actually have to target the people who are responsible for that. So let's talk about getting those firearms off the street that aren't supposed to be there, particularly the illegal handguns that are being smuggled across the Canadian-US border. And that is where we need to target. So we have said we're going to hire at least 250 more border officers to give them the resources to do their job. Also on the judicial side, we're going to ensure that the penalties also match the crime, so that those using a firearm in the commission of a crime actually face jail time. They're not going in a revolving door. There is a deterrent in place. So if you are caught doing that, you will face time in jail. And I think that's an important step as well. So it's both basically saying, we know the law is being broken. Putting more laws onto those who are following the law is not a step forward or to solve the problem. We need to actually solve the problem and not give people a false sense of security, and actually target those that are breaking the law, which are the criminals.
Where do you stand on the issue of abortion?
Well, my position is the same in 2015 as it always is. The Andrew Scheer government has said it is not going to legislate on abortion. It's in our policy platform. It was passed as a policy at our recent convention, and so that is the position of the Conservative Party of Canada.
What about your position?
As like I said, in 2015, I said I am personally pro-life, but I'm not here to impose my views on others, and nor would I. I don't expect to understand what's going on in anyone's personal position. So although that is my personal position, I will not, an Andrew Scheer government will not legislate on abortion.
Where do you stand on the issue of pipelines?
Pipelines are the most effective and safest way to get our energy to market. Right now, we are having the issue of the Trans Mountain Pipeline, which is causing a number of problems and concerns in Western Canada. And, you know, look, we have some of the most responsibly extracted energy anywhere in the world. We have the toughest labor standards, environmental codes, and the fact that we are still taking oil from Saudi Arabia, from Nicaragua on our eastern coast is absolutely ridiculous. We have the ability to be energy independent as well as provide good paying jobs here. And if we are able to do that, we are able to strengthen our energy sector, bring back the investment that has started to flee in the past 4 years in the hundreds of billions of dollars, and use it here. We can actually use the market to displace some of the bad actors. I think there are a number of countries that would want energy that is produced as ethically as possible, and we have it here in Canada. So why don't we force the bad actors who are doing nothing on the climate, who are doing nothing for labor standards, why don't we put our energy on the market, make it available to them, sell it to them, and then at that point force them to up their game as well. Look, when Energy East was canceled, which was taking Alberta oil to New Brunswick, when that project was canceled, that affected our area. It's just not Alberta, Saskatchewan, and maybe British Columbia affected. General Electric had a contract to make motors in that plant. And it wasn't the straw that broke the camel's back, but General Electric, as soon as they lost that contract because the rules kept changing and TransCanada said we can no longer proceed with this application, that plant closed. 300 people lost their job, and there was plans for 200 to 250 more people to help build those motors. So those jobs were lost locally. And that is unacceptable considering we have this great resource and we do it very responsibly with tough labor standards, tough environmental standards. Let's start displacing some of those bad actors and put our energy on the market.
And what would you do about the issue of jobs? Because we need jobs locally.
Absolutely. So it's a wide range of platforms that we're running on, including a focus on rural high-speed internet and cellular service that has been ignored by the current federal government for at least 2 years, probably longer. The Eastern Ontario Regional Network, which includes the mayors of wardens from all of Eastern Ontario, including Kawartha Lakes, came together 2 years ago and put forward a plan. They also put forward their money. The private sector came forward with their money. And within a couple of months of being elected, the provincial government came forward with their money. So those are 2/3 of the cost of people saying we need to make this a priority. And it was only the dying days of Parliament that the Liberal government decided, yeah, we're actually going to do something despite 2 years of dragging our feet. So we're going to make that a priority. Also, we're going to create an environment that allows private sector growth to succeed. In order to do that, we have to keep taxes low. We have to ensure that rules, regulations, red tape is kept at a reasonable level, because if people aren't able to make money, they're probably not going to move forward with their business. It's going to be tougher, and you're going to actually take away opportunities. And those are the opportunities we'll never see, those that never start up or never grow or come here in the first place. So we need to ensure that the environment is right for that to happen. And we are very happy to have a plan, like I said, green technology, not taxes, to promote the expansion of green technology and to push the private sector there faster. And there are incentives within our plan that will help those companies that want to make that next great thing, whatever that might be, to get us off fossil fuels, because I think we can get there. We just need to get there faster. But the way you do that, you don't pick winners and losers in the marketplace. You don't have government deciding who gets money and who doesn't. You don't give Loblaws $12 million to get their freezers. That is not a plan. That is not a plan. You need the private sector there at the table, but you need to get them and push them faster. There are great things happening in our riding. They're experimenting with hybrid planes right now in Lindsay. So it's happening now. And we need to get them there faster. And we can do that by, again, making sure they have the tools to make them successful, invest in their employees, and create jobs, opportunity, and wealth.
And what do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? Well, I try to run as much as possible. So obviously we're here in Ken Reed Conservation Area, where it's a great place to go for a walk, clear your mind, take in nature and the beauty of it, and just relax. That's another joy of mine, and just being outdoors.